every nervous system is always scanning the environment for cues of safety or danger because the primary function of the nervous system and subconscious mind is to keep us safe. That happens subconsciously, so many bits of information per second at lightning speed, just to scan the environment. Am I safe? Is there danger here? And so they're tuning into us like little tuning forks, like emotional tuning forks. And when we're looking calm on the outside, but we feel like a volcano on the inside, to them, their little nervous system's like, this, something's not right. The idea is to help everyone get more congruent. So what you're showing on the outside is more in alignment with what's happening on the inside.
Welcome to A Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast. I'm Brigitte Shipman, your host, and today I'm going to be talking with Kimberly Guche. And Kimberly is a mom of four, a pediatric speech language pathologist with over 25 years of experience, and she's also a mindset coach, which I'm really excited about. And she uses the mindset coach to help parents move from chaos to calm. We can all use that. I know that. And she's here to share her powerful practical tools for managing stress, calming your nervous system, and creating a more peaceful home, starting with you. She's going to be sharing a powerful tool called 5-minute chaos to calm method. So this is going to help you respond to your child with a more calm and confidence too. So I think this is going to be beneficial for anybody who's listening. Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a wonderful introduction. Thank you so
Why,
much.
thank you. For our listeners who are just getting to know you, would you tell us a bit about your journey, how you got here, just a little bit more about you?
Sure. Before I tell you a little about me, though, I just want to say everyone can use a good reset. All this, right? We all
Yeah.
need a good reset, like
Yes. So
many
whoever's
times a day.
listening, anybody who's listening, because I know educators tune in, grandparents, parents, folks that just want to learn more about what this journey is all about. So
Yes.
yeah, you're right. We all need it.
So, about me, I have been a speech language pathologist for over 25 years, and I don't know how I found my way to the caseloads of kids with high sensory needs and autism, but somehow I did. And so that was a lot of what I was working with. And from there, it started as therapeutic methods changed. We learned more about sensory processing and sensory intervention, which way back at the time when I was the only speech pathologist interested in learning about sensory. So I'm the only speech pathologist at all the conferences I was going to, but you can't expect a child, anyone, to listen and talk if they're not calm and they're not regulated. So of course I needed to learn that. And then I just went down a sensory nervous system rabbit hole for a lot of my years working with kids and a lot of my training. I got to a point in my life where just my whole world collapsed and everything went off the rails. I had four kids, managing four kids by myself, single mom, and all four of my kids were very busy kids. I'm working multiple jobs, just trying to keep everything together. And I'm working with these very sensitive kids. So you can imagine, as you know, when you show up to work with them and you're not regulated, how that goes for them. It doesn't
Oh,
work.
it doesn't.
It
Yeah.
doesn't work. And so, and then at the same time, with my own highly sensitive kids, I'm noticing, right, in the parents that I'm working with, and then also in me, what we all do is push through. And then, because we have to, and you can't stop. There's no time to stop. You never want your kids to think you're not okay. So you act like everything is. You smile, you act like you're calm. You got to keep them calm. So you do all the right things that you think you're doing correctly to present calm. but inside you're a cyclone. I would see over and over again with these kids that are so sensitive, they're tuning into us, how we feel primarily. So when we're showing one thing on the outside, but we feel so different on the inside, that is very confusing to them. And then it's more dysregulating. Not only was I seeing it in the kids I was working with, but my own kids, in one way or another, were reflecting that back to me. I thought I'm not doing this well. I was going to therapy twice a week, thinking I'm doing all the, reading books, doing everything that people tell you to do, like learn more, do more. And all more, everything I was doing wasn't helping. So I thought there's got to be a different way to do this. And by happenstance, I found myself going to a hypnotist for myself because I wanted to do a past life regression. And I walked in and I thought, wow, this is the answer. It just hit me. This is what I need to learn to help me because therapy's not doing it. And then when I help me, then I just knew it. Like, this is going to help so many people. So that's how it started. And then it was just so magical after that. Like everything I learned, I had to learn more. But I couldn't learn enough for myself first. Like, oh, wow, this is what it feels like to not feel frenzied when you use the other part of your brain, the subconscious, the right brain. And then I just had to learn more. And then I thought, how can I apply this? How can I help these moms? Because when you go into somebody's house and you can feel the energy when you walk in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so you can see it so easily in somebody else. So I'm trying to help these moms with these little ones, and they're grieving and they're exhausted. And then it's the whole grief process. And then they're wondering why their baby isn't eating or why they're not sleeping, why they can't regulate, why they're constantly tantruming and screaming. But you could just feel the whole house, right? So I mean, and I know that's what my house felt like. I'm sure that it did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then fast forward, I left New York, moved to South Carolina, and when I got here, my life took another cataclysmic turn, and I had a really difficult caseload with kids that were very sensitive and very difficult to manage. And I knew that it was not going to be okay for me to show up dysregulated. So I just thought, what will happen if I meditate every day before I go to work and see if it makes a difference? I was having a hard time meditating because my life was so out of control. But when I did, it was a little experiment. And when I did, they calmed down. They calmed down. And I thought that first I thought it was a coincidence. And then I thought, let me play with it and see what happens if I don't meditate. But they know when you get in the parking lot and
Yeah.
they're already in the building, they know if you're off or if you're not. They're just so sensitive. And so they're always wonderful teachers. My whole career, I feel like a lot of time, my own kids and the kids that I've worked with have probably taught me more than I've taught them.
I
They're,
agree with my experience as well.
yeah, it's amazing if we pay attention.
Yeah.
That was about 4 years ago here. And that's when I started really thinking differently about the clients that I work with in my coaching business, and then also the kids that I was working with in the schools. So I started reworking things and then, always revamping, but that's kind of how it came around too. That's the one thing we always are looking at the kids. How many more sensory interventions can we give them? A
Yeah.
swing, a trampoline, how many fidgets? And all of that is great. But we never talk about our role in that. How, because they could be in the best sensory room ever, but
Mhm.
if the therapists in there are all off and
Yeah.
having a bad day,
Yeah.
all that stuff isn't going to work.
Even for our neurotypical kids who are in school, if you have a teacher walk in and they're in a bad mood or whatever, you
Yeah,
instantly can feel it. And I mean, that just came to me while you were explaining all that because I thought we're responsible. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what came in my head. But we're responsible for our own energy, right? And so trust me, I've had to learn. And I often say, I wish I could have known, young Bridget could
Yeah.
have known these tools
Yep.
because I think I would have been happier. My energy in my home would have been lighter. Yes, it was stressful. You bet it was stressful. And I did not have the tools to cope. So that's why I was so looking forward to speaking to you. And I know, like, and I said 25 years, that's such a wealth of knowledge. So with the 25 years of experience and what you know now, what are some of the biggest shifts you've seen and how we can, or how we approach support for families, our families?
That's a great question. You know, also, I would just want to comment to your point. None of us have the tools, right? Most of us are parenting from a fight or flight state. And it can benefit everybody to learn how to get our nervous systems calmer because when you're in a fight or flight state, you're not present.
Yeah.
Whether your kid has autism or neurotypical, we're still not present. And so our energy is still impacting, we're disconnected from the kids.
Mm.
Not consciously, obviously. We're not doing this consciously. So it's trauma running us and
Sure.
the subconscious patterns that are running us. And kids having a child is going to hit every pain point that we've carried through our lives. All those old stories of I'm not good enough, or nobody listens to me, or
Mm.
abandonment, not being seen, all that. Every time our kids do that in their behavior, it brings up our old stuff. And whether we know it or not, it hits deep. So it's not just managing the behavior, it's also managing our story inside of that. How have things shifted in the support that we provide for families? There's so many. I watched a really great mom's video about her gentle parenting techniques. And I thought, if I would have known that, I would have been not a better speech pathologist and a better mom. It just because we know more about tuning in, listening, reflecting back, caring about our kids' emotional well-being. So I do think we've come a long way. And also in what we know about sensory systems. Because when years ago, there was no science in that.
Right.
Those of us that were getting trained in sensory intervention, it wasn't like they would tell us like, this isn't science backed. So we couldn't technically, people weren't really buying into the interventions that we were using with the kids,
Yeah.
even though you could see it makes a
Oh,
difference.
absolutely. And so, yeah, I personally love the shift. And I love when I hear a young mom talk about her toolbox that is common language a bit now, but I still think we have work to do on application.
Yeah.
So let's jump into your 5-minute chaos to calm method. Can you walk us through that? Because this is what we all need.
Yeah. Would it be okay if I just explain a little bit
You
about it first?
bet. Yes.
So how I thought of it, when I was putting it together, I'm thinking like, what are the three components I most want to use that are going to be the most helpful? And I like the 5-minute idea because we don't have a lot of time. The thing about working in the body and the unconscious mind, when you get out of your head and get in your body, or even when you're doing things using the right brain and the subconscious, we think everything has to be hard and take a long time and effortful. But really, when you're working on that other side of the brain, everything's really lightning fast. And really, you could do so much just with intending something, just with the intention to become grounded. So 5 minutes really does work. So I know because a lot of people ask me, what can you do in 5 minutes? You could do a lot in 5 minutes. I came to it with the metaphor of nervous systems communicating with each other like a two-way radio. I would think of it like as my kids would reflect back to me. Even my son was so sensitive, would always say to me, I would ask him, why are you doing all this crying? And he said, 3-year-old Chad said, I doing all this crying because you're doing all this yelling. And I was thinking to myself that day, I remember the day, what yelling? This mom hasn't yelled. So what yelling? So I said, I haven't yelled. And he said, in here, you're yelling in here. like that, like he could feel it. And I'm
Wow.
sure he was right. So his ears didn't hear yelling, but his body felt
Oh,
me yelling.
yeah.
And but I still didn't know any of this at the time. I just thought he liked making me nutty. So I just thought he loved to pluck every nerve to really test
Yeah.
me to see how calm I could be. It was dysregulating to him because I would get calmer and he'd get more ramped up. Back to my reset with the idea in mind that kids are tuning into our frequency. So
Mm.
if we think of it like we're a radio, every nervous system is always scanning the environment for cues of safety or danger because the primary function of the nervous system and subconscious mind is to keep us safe. So we're always, this that happens subconsciously, so many bits of information per second at lightning speed just to scan the environment. Am I safe? Is there danger here? And so they're tuning into us like little tuning forks, like emotional tuning forks. And when we're looking calm on the outside, but we feel like a volcano on the inside, to them, their little nervous system's like, this something's not right. The idea is to help everyone get more congruent. So what you're showing on the outside is more in alignment with what's happening on the inside.
Yeah.
And then doing that through the body and remembering that kids are not their behavior. The behavior's happening because most often there's a
Mhm.
dysregulated nervous system.
Mhm.
The child doesn't feel safe. And when you remember that these little ones with autism, or no matter what age, they're so sensitive to the lights and the sounds and the smells, and everything could set them off on top of us setting them off. So when you think about, for you, when you're having a bad day, who's your anchor? Your mom, your best friend, your partner. But if they're unanchored also, you have nothing to, you guys are two people floundering. Think of it how you would want it. You'd want your person to be anchored and they need us to be anchored. So I try and think of myself I like trees, the metaphor of a tree. But for each person doing this reset, your calm, steady, solid presence might be a lighthouse, or it might be the North Star or a mountain, whatever it is, you know, a visual or, a metaphor for you, what symbolizes for you strength. And I also think beauty too, the more peaceful and beautiful, the better. But being grounded and being strong, and then also safety. So when you're thinking, this child is lost, and I need to be the safe, solid presence. What does that symbolize for you or for anyone listening? For me, it's a tree. And then to end it, changing your energy, which, as you know, if you even when you're having a really bad minute, we get in our heads and then we are swirling and
Mhm.
we're like a tornado of energy. And we're not even here. We're just up in our head somewhere. We start to spiral into what if, and then pretty soon we're imagining disaster. So
Mhm.
trying to take that back and come back in the body. And even if you are having a bad day and you got up and did 10 jumping jacks, you're not going to be the same as you were when you were spiraling because you can't really, if you're doing something physical in your body, it's hard to be anxious while you're moving because you're getting into a different state inside your body. So ending with changing your energy. And I like to use the thymus tapping because the thymus gland is called the happiness point because when you tap on it, you do feel like 20 to 30 times, or however, it doesn't take long, but you'll feel a little shift where you start to feel happy and you can really feel it in the body. So that's
For
how I
those
end it.
listeners that don't know, where is that located?
The thymus gland is in the center of your chest, like underneath your collarbone, near your breastbone. If you think a gorilla thumping its chest, but you're not going to
Okay.
do it that hard, but like the
Okay.
center of your chest.
Okay. Thank you.
So the three parts of it are resetting the body and reconnecting the mind and then regulating the energy. So I'll go through it with you now. So if anyone is driving, don't do it if you're driving. You can't really do it if you're driving because you have to close your eyes. Okay, so to get started, resetting the body. So just pause for a moment and then really feel coming into your body, just really feel your feet on the ground underneath you. And then feel what is supporting you. So what's under you, and really feel it. So notice your feet in connection with the floor and your legs or your back in connection with the support under you. And then you can even imagine roots at the bottoms of your feet or the base of your spine. And just imagine those roots growing and they're going down into the earth and they're pulling you down, just keeping you tethered and connected. And then working on resetting the breath. So when you breathe, with the exhale longer than the inhale, it communicates safety to the body. So breathing in through your nose for a count of 4, pause, and then exhale out for 6. Just slowing everything down. And you can do that again. Slower breath, breathing into the belly, and pause, and exhale out for 6. And you can even imagine the words slow and your thoughts slowing down. Everything slower, grounded. And then to reconnect your mind, you can place a hand on your chest and one hand on your belly if you want to, or hand on the chest, just an anchor into the body. And then bringing in that visual. What is it that represents for you beauty and also strength and safety? So just take a moment to see it and feel it. Feel how solid and strong it is. And you can mimic that. Maybe as you do, your posture changes and you're sitting more upright or standing more upright. Maybe your shoulders start to feel broader or stronger, or you just feel more solidly connected to the ground. And reminding yourself in this moment, I'm safe, I'm here, I'm solid. And then you can remind yourself that's the energy that you want to bring back to the present moment with your child. And then the last part of it is regulating your energy. So you are bringing your strength with you into the moment. And then to end with a feeling of increased energy, but also some happiness, you can just gently tap in the center of your chest, under your collarbone. You can just do slow, gentle taps. And then shift your focus when you open your eyes, or when if they're still closed. You can imagine something that makes you smile, like your child's eyes or their smile or their laugh or their hug. And then you're just going to bring that energy back to the present moment. And whenever you're ready, you can just open your eyes and notice what's different.
Well, for me, I could go take a nap. I feel very calm, truly just, yeah, peaceful. I think that's a word for me.
Yeah, that's why I use the tree because there's trees are so peaceful.
Mhm.
But I think of so many times when I've felt lost, and I feel like the trees really anchored me. I've had a lot of trauma in my life. And, a lot of times when I do my own work, my own hypnotic or NLP or coaching work, and my coach says, think of a memory. A lot of my memories are not necessarily happy ones. So even if there was love inside of it still, so I like to go to trees because they feel safe and calming. And I have memories of being with the kids, on walks and the trees we've looked at in all the different seasons. So I just like the metaphor of tree. But yes, peaceful. And to reset, whenever you do that, it's not about, you don't need to, sometimes you're going to come back a little more zen. But I want to make the point that's not the requirement or the goal. It's really just to hijack the hijack of your nervous system. You know, life is busy and chaotic and rushed. And kids add another element to that. And then kids' behaviors add another element onto that. And
Mhm.
worrying about your child adds another element. And so we could, it's easy to feel like we're just buried under a mountain of stress and worry. But that isn't the truth. That's our thoughts and our imagination going down a rabbit hole. Resetting that, just interrupting your nervous system so that you are doing like a hard stop to that. Like, no, that's not okay. I don't have to go that way. I could come back to safety in my nervous system. And everyone has their thing that is their anchor for like strength and safety. So that's why I said, like, for you, it might, what was yours, a tree?
I live in Arkansas, but I live in the very northern tip, north central Arkansas. I have a ton of trees on where I live around my house, and I love going out and just sitting, and especially when there's a breeze, listening to the trees. So I do love the trees very much. I love the sound of them. Like I like hearing,
Yeah. Yep,
and I feel like they're just my natural meditation when I hear the rustle. And when I have the opportunity to go to the ocean, I love the sound of the ocean. Those two
for
things.
sure.
But for sure, I can go out in my backyard and I am just like, okay, all is well when I hear them, you know.
It really changes. I was having a week last week, and I thought, even though I was doing these resets, but then reminding myself, just go outside and look at something, like just something different, and I'll feel different.
Yeah. I think being in nature really changes things for me personally. And I used to tell, my kids, oh, just look up. Just look up and
Yeah,
tell me what you see when you look up. And all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, okay, when I look up, I don't know necessarily what I'm looking for, but I just feel better.
yeah, you do. You feel lighter. That's a great one.
I do. And I look up all the time, always have.
And then just when you look up,
Yeah.
things are looking up. It
Yeah.
just feels like that.
Yeah, that's a great metaphor.
I'm looking at Dorothy behind you. And so I thought for people also like that are animal lovers,
Hmm.
I'm a Leo. So for me, even an animal symbol, your symbol of strength, like a lion or a mama bear, that could even be it as well. It doesn't have to be nature. It could be whatever feels good and strong and safe to each person.
Yes. And I think mine might even change on any given day.
It could.
Between tree, ocean. I love butterflies. They make me centered. So, yeah, I love that visual too. I think the visual for me, I know everybody's different, but for me personally, that really works well.
And that's a good point because not everyone can visualize to the same degree, right? Everyone's senses are different. So for some people, it might just be a knowing of a butterfly, maybe not seeing it, Or for some people, it's like the feeling of the butterfly, feeling light, or just
Right.
knowing that it can elevate. You
Mm,
don't necessarily need to see it. You could
right.
just know it,
Or
imagine it.
the sound, right? Too. If I can hear the ocean, sometimes that works too. So just trying different things is what I'm hearing that work for you when you do this calm exercise. And I know, like, just that little bit that we did together, I really do. I mean, I can tell it now. I'm not going right into chaos, maybe with a child screaming or whatever from that, but certainly my nervous system is calmer. If you find yourself, I'm just curious, I feel good now. I'm walking into a situation that's chaotic again. How do I reset myself in that moment?
Well, that's a really great question. So remember what I said, in the
Yeah.
unconscious mind, it can be just like that.
Yeah.
So when you do, you can take any piece of this. So even the beginning, when you're doing grounding, and I encourage all my clients to always, every day, as soon as they get up, do their grounding. But you can just say to yourself, roots, and you can feel more grounded. Or see, I just got like, I feel like tingly in my body just saying
Yeah.
it. Or you can, if your visual is the butterfly, just say butterfly. And it will, just calling it up. And it's the accumulative effect the more you do it. So
Mm,
consistency definitely makes a difference. And the more you do it, the more automatic it's going to become. I
mhm.
would say, though, start when you're not going into a war zone. Start when you're like
Yeah,
this, and then
yeah.
maybe do it a couple times in the morning, a couple times in the afternoon. When I was working in a clinic, we were in these little tiny rooms. There was a lot of kids that came to the clinic who had autism, and so there were some days where there was probably 10 therapy rooms. Everyone was screaming. It just had, because screaming gets screaming gets screaming.
Sure.
And so imagine I would, and we would be back to back, like we would have kids every half hour all day. So imagine what your nervous system is like by the end of the day. So I had to come up with something because your nervous system can't handle that by the end of the day.
Mhm.
So that's how I know this works, because I would take every break I had, even if I had 5 minutes, I would just go walk outside and then just do that, like slow my breathing and then do my grounding,
Mhm.
even visualize like a color of light, but something to bring me back to slowing down and calm.
Yeah. Over the years doing what I do, I notice that some moms get stuck, right? Like those listening, I can almost hear them. Maybe young Bridget too. Like when I was younger, getting stuck in that cycle,
Yep.
frustration, the guilt, even emotional shutdown for some of us.
Yes.
Um, what would you say to that mom?
I would say to that mom, I've been there. I know
Yeah.
that's so real. And you feel like, it's all consuming. It's hard to get out of that place. I know that I've been there. So the first thing I would say is that's real. You feel it as real. It's like the mom isn't doing anything wrong. It's not. That doesn't happen because that never happens to moms because we don't care enough or because we don't love enough or because we're
Right.
not doing a good enough job. That's not why that's happening. It's happening because our nervous system is overloaded
Yeah.
with parenting 24/7, nonstop. And a lot of moms are doing this alone. They don't have help. More than one child with autism, too. And it's hard. When do you get a break? You don't have a break. So you can't turn it off. There's no shut off and there's no time off. And a lot of times there's not help. The dysregulated nervous system or a shutdown nervous system does not mean that you're failing. It just means you need a reset.
Yeah.
Because people ask me all the time, well, what if I don't have time for that? Because I'm so busy. But what if you don't do it? What happens if you never reset? Right?
Yeah. I'm
You're
thinking,
supposed to be the anchor for somebody else, but you're unmoored, you're unanchored. You can't really help. You can't pour from an empty cup. So when you're on the airplane, they say you have to put the oxygen mask on you first before you put it on anyone else. You have to find a way to get yourself out of that spiral because that will suck you down. Everything that happens in your mind when you go on that tailspin, you believe it's true. And that's the power of imagination,
Mm.
right? And so you can let it really take you down. I want everyone listening to know that it's not because you're not doing enough. And it's not that you're failing your child. It's your nervous system is fried
Yeah.
and it needs to be plugged in.
Yeah, what I'm hearing, it's a really simple, easy tool. And we hear about all these different practices. So I like that it's 5 minutes. I like that it's simple. I like that there's metaphors and visuals and all kinds of ways to connect in an instant to it. Like you said, I can just say butterfly and oh, okay, snap out of it, kind of. So I think it's an excellent tool. If you could give one message to moms raising autistic or highly sensitive kids, what would it be?
A message. Yes, there's so many.
No.
It would be definitely remind yourself. I mean, every time I say it, I want to cry because I didn't do it enough for myself, but remind yourself that you're doing a great job, that you're the best mom for your child, and you're doing a great job. It's hard because there is the spectrum of autism, and there's so many degrees of communication strengths and communication needs within that spectrum and behavior issues within that and emotional needs and sensory needs. So there's a lot, it's hard to manage that all. And then it changes, right? Because you have to be, I mean, you have to be like a wizard, a magician, and superwoman at all at once, all in this nice little package to be on top of what's going to set your child off in this environment. You can't possibly know all of that. No wonder your nervous systems are fried. It's exhausting. So this also, there's my listening meditation that goes with this. So
Okay,
I'll give you the link for that too.
perfect.
Uh,
We want that.
but I
Yeah.
would say, as much as you can, remind yourself when you start getting those thoughts, like, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or comparing yourself. Like, imagine a stop sign and hit or stop, like a big red button and hit the stop button or the delete and delete those thoughts. Because that is not the truth. That's fear. That's stress, that's worry, that's anxiety, that's your own conditioning, that's who raised you, who said that to you. We all have those stories in our head. It's not the truth. It's a story. You know, the truth is you are the best mom for this child.
I love that. And for anyone listening, repeat that to yourself. Write it down, put it somewhere, and even use that as a mantra if you need to use it. Because I mean, I've worked with a lot of moms over the years, and what I do notice is there's always that feeling of maybe I'm not maybe, I feel like I'm not doing a good job. I don't know what I'm doing. I hear that a lot. Yeah, so I absolutely love that. So moms are going to want to know how to we're going to share the link for the listening meditation and where can they find out more about Chaos to Calm tools, how they can connect with you.
My website is entrancinginspirations.com. And I also have a new school group. It's free. Inside that group, I made the modules with Chaos to Calm tools. There are other tools in there that moms can have access to. On Instagram, I'm Chaos to Calm NLP.
And we'll list all this when we release this.
It's easy to feel guilty when you feel like I'm not doing this good enough, or if I did this better, then my child wouldn't do this. None of that is true. But also remember when your child has a behavior, or it seems like, the behaviors seem like they're mad at you or that they don't love you, because it's easy because you're the target of a lot of it. That's not the truth either, right? You're the safe one. Again, it's a nervous system out of control saying, I need help, help me. Even as an SLP, even with the kids, I would think, oh, I'm the worst speech therapist ever. They don't like me. That's not true. When I got calmer, then they come and sit on my lap and I'm their favorite. So it's a lot of things are energy, energy. So calm gets calm and chaos gets chaos. So remember just the 10% shift. You don't need to be 100% Zen. Just shift your energy even 10%. They're going to feel it. How sensitive they are, right? You shift it 10, they feel it 50, maybe even more. So just think in terms of micro shifts, micro minutes, micro changes. Every little thing adds up.
Yeah, that's a great thing for our listeners too, because everyone wants to be gung ho and do all this in a day, but you don't need that. I love the micro thought and strategy with that. That's great. Yeah, great advice, great tools. Oh my goodness. You may need to come back, honestly, because I think we probably have more tools to talk about.
I would love to come back. That would be
Okay.
great. This is so
Yay.
fun.
Yes, and I know that this is such an important topic, right? But I really appreciate you giving us your experience, your wisdom, your knowledge. That's what this podcast is all about is, spreading hope, knowledge, and inspiration. I think we've done that today.
I sincerely hope we've done that today.
Yeah.
I guess one more thing is that like this thinking about your own nervous system first is it's like the piece that no one tells you. And so I feel like there's hope in that because it like here it says to each mom, here's the key. Take it, right? You have so much power. Like you literally are you're the whole power of the house, right? You are the energy of the house. And so it's not another thing to make you feel bad or guilty. It's like, oh, to inspire you and to light you up. Like, you're that safety beam for your child. So think about it differently in micro, not like you don't need to move a mountain, just do a little bit and you're going to see that shifts will happen when you are consistent. So I do think that, and I hope that it gives everybody hope, not one more thing that piles on. And the last point is never, if you are, obviously, if you're in danger, right? If you have a bigger kid and those behaviors are really aggressive behaviors, you're probably going to need to wait. You safety first. You can reset after, but do your best in the moment because sometimes behaviors get out of control and obviously you have to manage those behaviors first.
Great knowledge, advice. You have been so great, and we will have you back hopefully soon and learn more tools. I want to say with deep gratitude, a deep thank you for you being here on Mother's Guide and taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful and it was a pleasure to be here.
My honor for sure. If you enjoyed this episode of Mother's Guide through Autism Podcast, please subscribe so that we can all help other people that are out there looking for hope, knowledge, and inspiration on our journeys. I'll see you in the next episode.